guys. Today, I want to talk about the time I had a golden ticket to Paris Fashion Week. And I said, no, thank you. You heard that right. Here's what happened. So, welcome to today's episode of As It Is. Picture this. I work in a super prestigious studio in one of the fanciest arrondissements de Paris, the kind of area where even dogs wear better clothes than I do on a normal day. I'm talking about a neighborhood where you feel slightly underdressed just by walking to get a coffee, where the bakery have wait lists, where people carry bags that cost more than 3 months of my rent and act completely normal about it. So in that studio, we rent out spaces for all kinds of things: castings, rehearsals, commercial shoots. And there's that one agency from the US that does the full circus every season. Models, designers, stylists, the whole thing. On the surface, it's pure glamour. Lights, music, tall models everywhere, designers. But behind the scene, it's a total chaos. Someone is always sick, the DJ have a massive hangover, a stylist is screaming about nothing really important, and it smells like hairspray, coffee, and stress. So one time before Fashion Week, I stood there at the studio in my basic outfit thinking, I actually want to see the real show. And somehow, through pure luck and knowing the right people, I got a real ticket to the actual runway show the next day. My heart was doing backflips. And for about 20 minutes, I let myself have a fantasy. I imagined the outfits. Obviously, I'd find something. I'd figure it out. Maybe that one dress I've been saving for a special occasion. I imagined walking in with confidence, like I belong there, like it was just a Tuesday for me. I imagined the light going down and the music starting, and that specific electricity you only get when something is about to happen and everyone in the room knows it. I imagine having a story to tell. The I was there moment, the photos, the things you bring up casually 3 years later and it still lands. It felt so good to imagine it, and then my brain did what it always does. It started overthinking. Problem number one: who the fuck do I go with? So I have this really good friend. She's Korean. We met in Paris, and she's one of those rare people who just get the city, gets the weird in between feeling of living somewhere that's beautiful and exhausting at the same time. She gets me. We have this thing where we can sit in a coffee for 3 hours and talk about everything and nothing, and it never feels like enough time. She is the kind of friend you want next to you for the big moments, not because she'll hype you up or take the best photos, though she would, but because she actually pays attention. She would have noticed the detail, she would have an opinion about the thing in the thing, she would have whispered something funny at the exact right moment and made the whole night better just by being there. But she moved back to Korea months earlier, and standing there with this ticket in my hand, I realized I didn't wanted to go with just anyone. Some experiences are only worth having with the right person next to you. And without her, the whole thing already felt a little hollow before it even started. The alternatives? One friend who would have spent the whole night posting instead of watching, phone up, head down, already composing the caption before the first look even hit the runway, and another one who genuinely doesn't care about fashion and would have made sure I knew it loudly, probably in front of people. So, hard pass on both. Problem number two: their wardrobe. I don't own a single piece of designer clothing, not one. I'm talking Zara, Mango, and when I'm feeling like I want to put an effort, maybe something from Cezanne. One of my dreams is to have a closet like Carrie Bradshaw's, floor to ceiling organized by color with pieces that have actually story attached to them. But right now, very much not like it. Walking into a room full of people dripping in Chanel, Dior, limited edition of Celine, I already knew exactly how I'd feel, like the girl who snuck in, like everyone is looking at me thinking she doesn't belong here. That specific kind of insecurity that doesn't stay in your head, it sits in your chest, it changes how you hold yourself. It makes you smaller in a room where you were already feeling small, and then I caught myself. Do I even respect these people enough to feel intimidated by them? Because honestly, they all look the same, head to toe, black, shiny, no real personality in the outfit. I call them cockroach. Not out of disrespect, but because they move in packs and they are impossible to tear apart. You've seen them standing outside the shows, one head in their bag, one eye on whoever's watching, the pose, the look, the performance of being someone who belongs. And let's be honest, a lot of those people who are posing outside the shows, they are dead broke. They spend their entire salary on one belt or a pair of sunglasses just to feel part of a scene for 5 minutes every 6 months. The bag is real, but the rent is late. And somehow I was the one feeling like I didn't belong. So, why exactly was I scared of their judgment? Problem number three. I don't even like Fashion Week. Not the concept of fashion. I love that. Clothes are language. The way you dress is the first thing you say before you open your mouth. And I would still love to go to a runway show someday when it feels right, when I feel belong. But Fashion Week as an event every season, it turns this city into a nightmare for actual Parisians. The noise, the crowds, people talking so loudly about their fashion journey. You can hear them from the other side of the street. Even the quiet little cafes, the one you are sure nobody knows about, the one that don't have an Instagram page, the one where the waiter doesn't even know English because he doesn't have to. Even those get invaded by people screaming darling and name dropping over their third espresso. It stopped being about the clothes a long time ago. It became about the status, about being seen, about who's wearing the most expensive version of black in a room full of people wearing the most expensive version of black. The actual clothes, the craft, the vision, the work that went into them almost feel like a side note. And that's the part that genuinely make me sad because fashion at its best is extraordinary. The rehearsal I watch, underneath all the chaos and the hangover and the missing shoe, there was something real happening. People who cared deeply about something. That part I respect completely. The circus around it, less so. So that night, I sat on my couch doing the math. The cons were screaming so loud they drowned out everything else. Wrong company, wrong wardrobe, wrong crowd, honestly, wrong event. So I let the ticket go. I just sent it back to the universe. No explanations, no last minute explanations to the one who invited me. I made myself some pasta, nothing fancy, the kind you make when you just want to feel okay. I put on something completely silly to watch, something that requires 0% of my brain. And I sat there in my sweatpants and I exhaled. The FOMO hit the next day at the time of the show. The lights, the look, the front row, the you had to be there energy bleeding through everyone's screens. I watched all of it from my couch, pasta fork in my hand, and I felt two things at exactly the same time. A little sad and deeply relieved, not one after the other, both at the same time, which I think is actually the most honest emotional response to FOMO. It's never just one thing. By night, the relief had won. I turned off my phone, watched one more episode of whatever I was watching, and went to sleep feeling like myself. I woke up the next day with a tiny bit of regret, but the quiet kind, not the kind that sits heavy, not the kind that make you feel I made a mistake, just the small wistful kind that reminds you something interesting happened in the world and you weren't there for it. I can live with that. Here's what I've learned about living in Paris. This city will offer you things constantly, beautiful things, glamorous things, things that sound incredible and look even better on paper. And the skill, the real skill, is learning to tell the difference between what actually is for you and what just sounds good, between the invitation that fits and the one you'd be performing your way through all night. I said no to Fashion Week. I ate pasta. I slept well. And I think that might be one of the most grown up thing I've done lately. If you've ever bailed on something fancy because your friends weren't right, your closet felt basic, or your soul simply said nope, you are not alone. We might actually be the smart ones. Or at the very least, we are the ones who get a good night's sleep. Quick thing before I go. You probably noticed the new intro music. So I got bored. I wanted something different. Tell me honestly, do you like this one more or the old one? Either way, the people, the cars, the content, all still here. I'm Gigi. I choose the pasta, and this was As It Is. Bye.